I think we have Vince joining us, and we're a little bit late getting to him. There's Mr. Redmond.
Hi, Vince.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For those of you who don't know or have never been here before, Vince is, we call him a unicorn. He is a licensed marriage and family therapist. We're so grateful to him, but he's also somebody who has extensive experience in the field of ABA and has been working with individuals on the autism spectrum for, my goodness, Vince, like over 25 years, right?
Going on 28 right now.
Wow. So has a vast array of knowledge about a lot of things. Vince joins us to talk about stressors and things that are happening with our families as a result of autism. And, we were talking yesterday about the fact that we've been talking about stress, Vince, but we need you to help us with it.
Yeah, we know we're all stressed. That's a given.
We all can identify, yes, we're stressed.
Yes.
Especially right now. I mean, not only, we have the pandemic and everything that's been going on since March, right? But now we're in the holiday season, and there's inherent pressures and stressors that come with the holidays. And now this year we have the new experience of a new holiday, right? We're not going to be around as many family and friends. We're not going to have the gatherings that we're used to. We're not going to be able to have the celebrations that we typically have in the past. That creates anxiety, that creates stress, right? It's change. I know we've talked about this in previous shows. When we change, right, humans are habitual and routine creatures. So when we change, our anxiety goes up. And so now we have the holidays, change of schedules, change of routines, change of celebrations, on top of everything that's going on in the world today in regards to the pandemic. So everybody's stressors and anxieties and levels of stress are at an all-time high coming into these holidays. So one of the things we talked about was, how do we somehow control that? How do we mediate it somehow, right?
Right.
There's lots of different things in regards to creating new routines, creating new rituals and celebrations within the home, keeping our family bubble consistent. And that may include grandma and grandpa, but keeping it, a consistent bubble without having a lot of extra people within it, because then that creates stress with the routine, or with the pandemic in our routines.
Vince, one of the things that my card team has done with Wyatt, because he had initially a very hard time with the pandemic and not being in his regular schedule, not understanding the pandemic, why he couldn't be with friends, why he couldn't do baseball, why he couldn't go to karate, why he couldn't do all of his activities. They created calming techniques. Use your coping mechanisms is what they tell him. And he has a list of his coping mechanisms, which include deep breathing, punching a pillow, ripping paper, and there's one or two other ones, but he has them written down so when he goes into his room, he can, focus on what those are. And we're thinking about creating a calming space for him, where he would have like a beanbag chair that he could sit in and look at his coping mechanisms. So this is something that has worked for him.
Correct. And in each child is going to have their own specific set of coping strategies that are going to work for them because of their sensory needs, sensory input needs, different things that help calm them. We want to capture that in specific strategies so that they can learn how to employ them, how to use them when they start feeling stressed, when they start feeling out of control.
Right.
Everyone's a little bit different, but like you had mentioned, you mentioned at least 4 or 5 different strategies that are super successful with our kids to help calm them in this time of change.
Shannon, I'm looking at some toys as well that are like fidget toys that he might be able to incorporate in his box of tricks. I know you featured those on the show many times.
Yeah, and yesterday we ran through all of the toys in this year's toy guide, and they're available. I'm sort of queen of the fidget. I always have on my desk at work when we're working in regular circumstances, like 12 fidget toys that I'm testing out. And I love to see when people come into my office to see which ones they're drawn to. But because we all love to have something. But I got to be honest that when COVID first started, I also run the card parent group the PTA, and we invited Vince to come in, and we were all like right there, right in those first few days of COVID, like, how are we going to get through this? And we were like, what can we do for these folks? We asked Vince to come in, and Vince, you did a little bit of a talk, but you also took us just through a very simple breathing exercise. And the other day I was asking people after months, and I've had guests and I've had all of these people, and I asked them, like, what were the best ones? And they said, oh, remember in the beginning? And some people, one person didn't remember your name, but they were like, the guy who, takes care of all of us. Remember when we did that breathing exercise that really helped? Everybody felt better. So I was thinking today, instead of endlessly talking about the stress, can you take us through the breathing exercise?
Right. And this is our coping strategy, going back to what Nancy was saying, right?
Yes.
It's our own coping strategies we have to look at to mediate our stress. And one of the most successful ones is called controlled breathing. It's being able for us to get control of our bodies, our minds, our the way we're thinking, in a way so that we can immediately reduce our anxiety and stress. So it enables us to actually then think through a problem, think through a situation, think through maybe some of the stress that's coming our way, right? And the way I like to look at it, and it's done several different ways, but the way I program it and I deliver this to my clients is 4 steps. It's a 4-step process, right? So when we start feeling stress and we start to feel a little bit on edge, like we're losing control of things, right? Where it's starting to get to overwhelm, it's starting to get to, I don't know what to prioritize and what to do next. The first step we need to do now is just stop doing what we're doing, whatever that may be. It could be working, it could be working with our kids, it could be cooking dinner, it could, whatever we're doing, stop. Find a spot you can go to where it can just be as distraction free as possible, right? It could be a bedroom, a bathroom, outside, could be on a walk, could be anywhere where we can just have a little bit of quiet, right? At least less distractions. So the first step is stopping. The next step, and this is the one that controls our breathing, it's the breathing step, right? So here we want to learn how to control our breathing, control the flow of our blood, control our blood pressure. We want to bring our anxiety from way up here and slowly start to bring it down to where now we have control over it. So the first step with the breathing is we close our eyes and we slowly breathe through our nose as our lungs fill as high as we can go. Hold it for 3 seconds and then slowly release and blow out from your mouth. Okay, so in through our nose, feeling our lungs fill, feeling our diaphragm move up, right? Feeling the air now releasing it, blowing it out of our mouth. Feel that tension, go with it, right? Concentrate on your breathing, feel what it feels like, what it tastes like, what it sounds like. Feel our body and our feeling the tension be released. Right? We want to do this 10 times. Only concentrating on our breathing and our body. Once we get to that 10 times, you're going to feel your body relaxing. We're resetting our mind to a calming state, a state of control, a state of composure. Once we've done our 10 breaths and we've only focused on our breathing, we've listened to ourselves, we've felt ourselves, we feel and can, hear the tension leaving our bodies as we exhale, right? The way to always remember the breathing is a little funny phrase, right? You smell the flowers and you blow out the candles, right? So we breathe through our nose and out our mouth. Now, when we've done it 10 times, now we're in a calmer state. That is step 2. Now, when we get to step 3, now we can think again. We can problem solve again. We can think about what are the things we need to do? What is the best resolution, or what are our options now to resolve this issue, stress, maybe move forward with a plan? What are our priorities, and so forth? We're now logically able to think. We're not just overreacting and emoting anymore. And once we figure out a plan, we figure out a priority, we're able to move to step 4, and that's now actually applying that. Apply that priority, apply that plan, apply that solution to our problem. Now, I call this a pocket technique, because you can take it with you wherever you go, right? This isn't anything that takes, stimuli or objects or anything. This is something that you can do at work, at school, on a walk, at home, at somebody else's house, out in a store, right? We can control ourselves by simply just bringing it back around to controlling ourselves, controlling our biology, making us feel more comfortable, which then makes us feel more confident. And now we're able to think more clearly, be able to come up with more resolutions, come up with plans and solutions to our problems. Now we're going to make more sound decisions, more sound actions as we move forward.
I love this, Vince, because there's absolutely no cost to it as well. You can take it with you anywhere, as you said, and there's no cost. And I know for me, when my son was little, sometimes we'd be leaving someplace to get into the car to go someplace. And there was one time when I was so hurried and I put him in his car seat and I was all out of control and I drove away and we were almost in a car accident. And after that, somebody said to me, no more. That stop that you were talking about, they were like, look, when, you can be having whatever feelings, your son can be having whatever feelings. When you put him into the car seat and you strap him into the 5-point harness, he's safe. Now you get in and you put your seatbelt on and there's a moment there. And they were saying to me to do 3 breaths, just get into the habit of doing 3 breaths, because it takes less than a minute. And then you will drive and you will be safer and your child is okay. What they didn't say to me, and I learned after that, was in that moment, I was teaching my son. We did it every single time we would get into the car. And I was modeling the behavior that then he learned. Sometimes I have to stop and take even just 3 breaths. And it's super important that we all need to walk our talk. Our kids have a lot of anxiety. We have a lot of anxiety. And if we're working on it in front of them in these productive ways, I think they notice.
Absolutely.
Of course they do. They pick up on our stress. I mean, you put out a vibration, an energy field that they definitely pick up on. I mean, I know that times when Wyatt, when he was younger and was having severe tantrums, I would get so wrung out during the course of that. And it was like a vicious cycle, right, Vince? That you
absolutely
can't get out of.
Yeah.
The breathing technique is great for that, Shannon.
Absolutely. But I think it's important because sometimes, we all meet together and we talk about different things, but I think it's that put the oxygen mask on yourself first thing.
Right.
That if we don't deal with our stress, then we're not going to be as effective helping our kids. If they're on the spectrum or off the spectrum, we're not going to be as helpful for helping them. Now, Louise has written in and said, is this a program for autistic adults only? And I just want, Louise, welcome to the show. If this is your first time here, this show is for everyone. So it's for individuals who are on the spectrum themselves. It's for everyone who loves them. So it's for caregivers, it's for teachers, it's for people who are therapists, anybody who has a stake in loving someone who's on the spectrum or being on the spectrum themselves. It's for everyone. So welcome. I imagine you're one of those people and we're glad to have you here. So, and what we've been talking about is we've talked a lot. Every time I turn on the TV, they're either saying something stressful or there's a story about how stressed out we are.
Right.
That's it. There's nothing else. You know, I'm so desperate for other, and I think a lot of people have just gone on to Netflix because that's all there is on television is stress and talking about stress. So we wanted to take a minute here to do something ourselves. But how does everybody feel now? I want to hear from you guys. Is anybody feeling a little bit better?
Good, good, good.
Okay. So in any case, I'm reading, I'll catch up on that in a second.
Yeah.
So we have just a couple of more minutes here. And I just wanted to give both of you an opportunity because this is the last show of the year before we sign off. And we'll be playing Marathon Ask Dr. Doreen over these next 2 weeks, actually 3 weeks before we're back on the air. But I wanted to take a second to have you guys either say one thing that you learned in 2020 or one thing that you're hopeful for in 2021. Who wants to go first?
Vince, you go first.
What am I thankful? Despite, I think for 2020, the thing that I learned is, and it kind of is a contrary to what popular media is trying to portray. But knowing everything, was just humanity for our neighbors and our care of one another. When the pandemic hit, I've never seen so many people gather together to help one another than ever before. Either it be in my neighborhood, it be here at CARD, it be, family members that were buying things for one another, making sure that they were safe, masks and sanitation and toilet paper, let's not forget our big rash of toilet paper, these types of things. And to be honest, it really touched my heart and touched my soul on how much people cared for people. And it wasn't just their family members. People were buying things for other people. People were protecting other people. And I thought that was fantastic. And again, that's like you had said, Shannon, that's in direct contrast to what we see on the media day to day. So I was really touched by that. Looking by 2021, I hope we take that forward. As we move out of the pandemic, I hope that continues. I hope, we continue to be more open, caring, accepting of one another and continue to protect one another, whatever the next thing may be. Maybe it's not a pandemic, maybe it's something else, but we continue to show great humanity for each other. We'll get through anything.
Yeah,
Nancy?
I would second my what I've learned was very similar to Vince, and that is it really truly takes a village, particularly during this pandemic. We knew that before. If you have a child on the autism spectrum, it takes a village between the various caregivers, teachers, therapists, doctors, all the people that work with your child. But I found during the pandemic even more so. And I had a group of core people here helping me, a friend and her daughter who came to stay with me. And Wyatt has 2 caregivers, John and Andrea, 2 aides that are amazing. So I leaned on them more. And for the future, I'm going to continue to lean on people, not to isolate and to reach out, because I think it's easier to isolate. And I'm going to reach out more as Wyatt is a young adult now. I'm going to reach out to other people who can help me navigate that world.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And something you're looking forward to in 21, or that's what you're looking forward
That's what I'm looking forward to.
So I, similarly, what I learned in 2020 was the value of human contact. And I've been lucky because I've been self-isolating with my husband and my son. I've never had this much time with my husband ever. And lo and behold, I not only still love him, I like him. I found out I'm married to the right person. And that's been really wonderful. But when I there have been times when I've thought about the couple of weeks leading up to the when we shut down, and I was running around like a maniac, and I was running here and I was running there and doing this. but I've gone over like some of the different events that we went to. I had an opportunity I had to drive all the way out to Riverside, and it was terrible. The traffic was horrible. And we were like, why are we doing this? But I got to have dinner with my nephew, who I get to see about once every 2 years. That he was in town for something, and he isn't normally here. And I've just been like, I'm so glad we did that. I'm so glad we did that. We went to an event that I was like, oh, I don't really want to go. And we had the time of our lives at the event. I think I am somebody, I love to stay home, but I am looking forward to a time in our lives, and I'm going to appreciate more every time I get to see a friend. I get to hug them. I get to be face to face. I'm just going to appreciate it on a much different level. And in 2021, I am looking forward to so many things. As people know that have been watching the show, my son has been applying to colleges, and there's a big question mark for me in 21. There's a big unknown and adventure that awaits him and that awaits my husband and I, because our son is going to be going to college. And I don't know what that's going to look like right now. I have no idea where he's going to be living. I know that we want to live close to him, so I don't know where we're going to be living. And it's exciting. At this age, it's like, where is life going to take us next?
Shannon, I hope you're taking a minute to sit back and smell the roses, because of your amazing journey with Jim. That he's going to college is such an accomplishment. Wow. Congratulations.
Believe me, we are trying very hard to make sure that we go back and thank all the amazing people. I mean, starting with Card, because there's no doubt in my mind he would not be applying to colleges and applying to the colleges that he's applying to had it not been for people like Vince and other people at Card who were there for us time and time again and helped chart the path. So no, we're really, really, every day I'm reminded of how lucky we are, Nancy. But thank you for reminding me about that. We do, every day I try to say to him, I'm so proud of you. And Kashwana is saying, autism-live, does ABA therapy really work? Well, if I will tell you that it does, because ABA is there to teach individuals things, and all individuals will learn. It's just that different individuals will learn a different amount. Part of it is that there is a prescription, and the prescription says you got to have a certain number of hours, and that the parents have to be as involved as possible. Still, everybody doesn't have the same outcome. And that is just the reality of things. And Vince and Nancy, if you guys want to chime in, but I will tell you that my child started ABA therapy at 3. He was considered nonverbal at that point, and he applied to Harvard last week because he wants to be a screenwriter. So, and what we did was ABA. So really good quality ABA, but we did 40 hours of ABA starting on his 3rd birthday. And we learned everything that we could, and we got lucky. We got lucky because we had access to that. We had great therapists at Card, and we were able to do it. It was hard, but we were able to do it. Now, does everybody who gets 40 hours have that same result? No, but everybody makes progress.
Yeah, I would second that by saying everybody makes progress. My son started ABA when he was 4 3/4, because we got a late diagnosis, but he was nonverbal, having maybe 6, 7, 8 tantrums a day. And we got to the point where he is highly verbal and no longer having, every now and then he still acts out, but we have tools to deal with that now, whereas I didn't before. So huge gains from ABA.
And he's a beautiful painter. I think he has a voice that it will be heard through his paintings, aside from the fact then that he can communicate his needs.
Right.
I love having a conversation with Wyatt.
Right. Both boys are artistic and creative. It's fantastic.
Yes. Louise says, my grandson is the same as your son, started at 2.5 and has learned so much, but is still nonverbal. Keep plugging on it, Louise. Make sure he's getting enough ABA, because a lot of people are getting 20 hours of ABA right now. For a 2.5-year-old, your insurance company will pay for 40 if you appeal your decision, and you really want to be at 40, and you want everybody around him to learn it. And we're out of time, but we do know the difference between meltdowns and tantrums. We absolutely do. We've done tons of shows on it. Check our library. And we're going to sign off here in a second, but we're going to be playing Ask Dr. Doreen end-to-end marathons over this break, and you'll have plenty of opportunity to see what she has said about that. So Vince, thank you for all of
Vince.
for so many families and for being here with us always. We adore you.
Yeah, wishing you and Debbie and your girls a very happy Christmas.
Thank you. Blessed, we're blessed to go into the new year, and I thank you both for everything that you guys are doing. Happy holidays, be safe, and we'll have a great 2021.
Right.
That's right. And Nancy, I love you. Thank you so much for being my friend and doing this with me.
I love you too, Shannon. Have a happy holiday.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.